Greetings, sports fans. We are the Sports Kings from Queens. I'm Gino. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Kevin and Darren. Today is Wednesday, April 2nd. This is episode 163. Please catch us wherever you get your podcasts. Like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're all over the place. Give us a look. Join our pages. You see something you like, respond to it. Tell us what you like. We'll respond back to you. Tonight, we're going around the world of sports. We're going to start it off with college basketball. We're down in the Final Four. Last week we were at 16. Darren, let's get that going.
Chalk, chalk, and more chalk. Name of the show, name of the story of this tournament. Easily the most boring NCAA men's basketball tournament I've ever witnessed. I'm not trying to be funny or mean. Out of the 64 games played so far, 34 have been decided by double digits, okay? 15 of those by 20 or more. There's been 11 one-possession games, but 4 of those were like last shot kind of heaves to make me lose bets, basically. That's the only reason why people were trying to score late in games. Only one buzzer beater, which we talked about last week, was Maryland and Colorado State. And for the most part, the memorable moments have been non-existent. When I go through the upsets, these are the upsets of the tournament, okay? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times a lower seed has beaten a higher seed. Out of that, okay, we had 2 9s over 8s, 3 10s over 7s, 1 5 over 4, 2 6s over 3s, and of course the 2 12 over 5s. And naturally, the 1 2 seed we were all rooting for got knocked out by a 10 because that's just the way the tournament goes. That was the only real upset was the St. John's Arkansas game. And the first round, you had a couple. But really for the most part, it's been kind of ho-hum. And now it's been anticlimactic and predictable. I mean, I don't know what else you guys can think about that, but that's all I can say about it, G.
And all those upsets first 2 rounds, because when we got to 16,
it's over.
It was chalk. You had 3-1. You had 4 1s, 3 2s, and a 3. So all 16 of those teams are all low seeds. There's nothing going on. You go from 16 to 8, and you got nothing but chalk. And then you go from 8 to 4, and you really got no chalk now because now you got all 4 number 1 seeds.
Yeah, first time in 17 years we had the 4-1 seed. Yeah. So
2008, the last time it happened. I mean, it's unbelievable this year.
And the games this weekend too. The 4 regional final games. I'll hold off the one for last. Duke by 20 over Alabama. Houston by 19 over Tennessee, which I don't think was that close. Auburn won by 6 over Michigan State. That was 10 most of the way. It never felt like Michigan State was threatening.
No.
And the only close one, Florida over Texas Tech, they made that furious comeback, down 9 with 3 minutes left, and Texas Tech choked that game away.
Yeah.
Couldn't hit a couple of key foul shots. Clayton came up with a couple of big threes, had 30, and they won the game to the foul line. Florida was 25 for 27, and Texas Tech was 7 for 13.
And that was the only one.
And that was the only one that was even decent. I don't think it was a great finish.
No, that's the only one.
And the thing about it is that, you're going through this. The crowd tried to get into it when Tennessee cut it to 10.
Yeah.
They didn't get it to single digits at any point. Actually, they had a chance. Gainey missed a layup, and he was that only guy that got him to 10, by the way. So I'm not trying to criticize Gainey. He missed a shot. He switched hands inside on a layup that would have cut it to 8. And then a 3 came down the court, and then that was it. It went back up to 13, and it was over. But we had nothing in that game. Michigan State made a little bit of a late run, and they missed a couple open threes late that could have made it exciting. They just couldn't hit them. And Alabama just couldn't hit water from a boat, and then that was pretty much that, Jake.
And Houston jumped out to such a lead after the first 10, 12 minutes. Tennessee basically spent the whole rest of the game chasing, trying to get back into this game. You're down 19, you're down 22, you're down 23, all of a sudden you're down 18. And can we push it? And even that, you're still down 18.
Yeah.
You know
what stat I saw that I think really summarized the way the 4-1s dominated this year? Ken Palm has been doing their efficiency rating since 1997. Duke, number 2 in efficiency rating. Houston, number 6. Florida number 8, and Auburn number 10. That's not this year.
No, go ahead.
That was, you saw the same stat.
I
That
did.
is all
time.
time. That's almost 30 years of data. These are 4 of the top 10 most efficient teams, according to Ken Pon, of all time. No wonder we have 4 ones.
Yeah.
But you know what? We have 2, which should be 2 very good semifinals, and hopefully a really good championship game. I'm going to start with Duke, guys, because to me, the most impressive team has been Duke. I'm not trying to criticize, and I'm not a Duke fan, so don't think of it that way. You guys know that very well. But they have reminded me of kind of the Connecticut teams of the past couple of years because they've got the big guy. You know, they got Malawak back there to block everything so they can play so aggressively on the perimeter. And it just changes the momentum. You throw in of the team's offense that they're going up against. You throw in the fact that Cooper Flagg's probably the best player in the country. Knipple is like that next level of Duke guy you just can't stand. It doesn't make a mistake ever.
Yep.
And, you know, and then you have all these other guys like Proctor that just kind of chip in and you know, James and Gillis and Evans and Foster. And, you know, it's just a team that has so much depth and so much balance, but they have the guy in the back that just makes everything go because you can't get to the basket. And we saw that with Alabama struggling when they try to drive a little bit. They just take you off the 3-point line.
To hold Alabama to 65.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was
really
a terrific
impossible
defensive effort, too.
Absolutely.
And the thing about it is the defense is great. And then you see the miss open shots, but you see the miss open shots after they struggle early. So they take them out of the rhythm early. Same thing happened with Tennessee. Houston's defense kind of got them where they couldn't get anything going. And then when they started to get the open shots, they couldn't hit them. They just, none of the players were in rhythm. And that's what Duke has kind of done all year, probably better than I realized watching. But you watch them in this tournament and, you know, they had a little bit of a threat against the was it Gonzaga gave them a little bit of a run, I think it was, right? Was that Gonzaga that played them?
No.
In the 1-8?
Arizona.
I'm sorry. The 1-8 was Arizona. The 1-4, Arizona. I'm sorry. Gonzaga gave the trouble to Houston. My mistake. But now I'm confusing myself. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But Arizona kind of gave them fits because they were able to hit their shots and score a little bit early and had some size. Unless you could match them size for size inside, and you have to figure out a way to get this team to not be effective from 3. You have to be able to play Cooper Flagg straight up, not sag off him, and you can't let Knipple be a guy that beats you. You got to let the other guys do it. And that's the only hope of beating this team right now with the way they're playing, Kev.
The way they're playing, I mean, I think Proctor's been the biggest guy there. You know, Flagg's going to get his. You got all the other freshmen contributing, but Proctor's the junior. Proctor's the guy who's been there, and he has stepped up. He's averaging 17 through the first 4 games of this tournament. I think he's been the X factor and providing some good defense as well. I mean, he's just one of those guys that just seems to be right place, right play, right time, everything else.
He's getting open threes and he's hitting them.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down to. And even when he's not open, he's able to make a little pump fake and get himself open and free himself up. Again, the way you're going to beat this team is you got to make Malawak run. You got to get him a little tired. You got to get him off the court a little bit. You got to have Duke a little bit uncomfortable. You've got to make sure that Knipple's not beating you as the second guy. I would let Proctor beat me over Knipple if it's up to me, to be honest with you. Knipple's another lottery pick. They got 2 lottery picks on this team. And, you know, with the way their defense plays and the way they hit threes, you have to sit there and try to hope that most of these guys are off from 3 and that you're able to kind of somewhat contain Flagg and just kind of wear them down a little bit. And Houston's defense is one of those teams that's relentless enough that can tire out an opponent. But I think that Duke, to me, has been the most impressive of the 4 teams. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, guys.
I agree, but I also think they have not – I mean, okay, they played Alabama last game, but their road, you know, Mount St. Mary's, then they got Baylor, then they went through Arizona, then they played Alabama. I don't think they've been tested at all yet. I mean, I know the way they played Alabama. You could tell me Alabama's that good. I get it. But they blew them out of the water. I mean, either they're going to blow everybody out of the water or this is going to be the first real test that they get when they play Houston.
Well, Alabama is not a good defensive team. statistically. Not me just watching them and saying it. It's just a fact. There's a team that likes to beat you by outscoring you. And they could not do that against Duke. They weren't hitting enough consistent shots, and their defense would let them down time in, time out. I mean, if there's a guy in the NCAA men's basketball tournament that reminds you of Jalen Brunson, it's Mark Sears. He's the kind of guy that doesn't look like he's a hell of a defender. He makes heady plays on offense, gets in the right place, will make a steal here and there, but he does not have the ability to stay in front of his guy, and it's a problem. Jake?
Of the 4-1s, to me, they're the only one that really hasn't been tested the last 2 games. Everybody else, I think, was tested. Houston had to get past Purdue. They had to get past Tennessee. Florida had to get past Maryland. They had to get past Texas Tech. Auburn had to get past Michigan and then Michigan State. Again, all of these teams had 10-plus point wins. So I'm not saying that they didn't ultimately win, but I don't think any of them were tested. I'm sorry. I think everybody was tested except Duke. I don't think Duke's been tested yet.
Well, now, Arizona did test him, but let's get to Houston though. Okay,
but again, it may just be that they're this good, and I think that's what we're going. For me, that's what I'm gonna find out when they actually play Houston now.
Well, here's the thing. So we're gonna get to Houston right now because Houston had the toughest road. They had to play a road game at Purdue.
Yeah.
Okay, they flat out had to play a road game 60 miles away.
And before that, it was
they struggled in this game. What?
Before that, it was Gonzaga.
No, I get it, but the fact is that they literally as the 1 seed, they got punished.
Yep.
They put a 4 seed as the home team.
And you heard the crowd.
And you heard the crowd. Oh, they had no crowd there. It was all Purdue crowd. And they struggled in this game, but they won. Yep. So now when you look at Houston, this is the best offensive team I've seen Kelvin Sampson have at Houston. He's had good teams. This team can actually hit the 3, and we saw it against Tennessee. We saw Sharp hit big shot after big shot. We know that Cryer can do it. We've seen Uzan do it in this tournament. Didn't do it that night in particular. They have a low post presence in Roberts, who's been there for 17 years or 5 or whatever they want to call it. They have Arsenault and Francis and Wilson and Tugler who play like pogo sticks and jump up and down and get everywhere. They don't have a ton of height to match up with Duke. Their big play is going to be 6'8", but they get their hands on everything. And you saw that in the Tennessee game, where every time it looked like Tennessee might have a rebound, a Houston hand got on it, deflected it out, tapped it out, or grabbed it. And now you're going to see the best defensive team in the tournament play the best offensive team in the tournament left. And we're going to see how this shakes out, Kev. What are your thoughts on Houston and Duke?
Like I said, Houston's going to give them everything they can handle. Duke is not facing a defense like this, I don't think, all year. That's how good Houston's defense, I think, is. Between, the guards that can pressure you, between that's really the biggest guys, but guys who have tremendous hops. And I think this is going to be some test for Duke. This is going to be, if the referee, especially if the referees let them play, this is a team that can go after Duke. And don't have to mess. And I don't think they have to trick things up to get after Duke. They'll be able to play their straight up defense and be able to contain Duke. I'm not saying they're going to beat Duke, but I think that gives them a chance to make it a very competitive game, which I think right now is all we can hope for.
G, thoughts on this one?
I think Duke has the defense to hold them, but I don't know if they have enough to actually win.
You're breaking up a little bit. I'm sorry. What was that, G? Can you repeat that? You broke up.
Right on the fence with what Kev's saying, to be honest. I kind of agree with what he's saying. I do think they have the defense that can hold them. I just don't know if they have enough to beat them.
Okay, so to me, the key to this game is going to be the boards, okay? If Houston can out-rebound Duke, I think they can win this game. But they are going to have to win the battle on the glass. That's what it comes down to. It's a pretty even matchup. I don't think it's a slaughter one way or the other where Duke is far superior. Does Duke have the better player on the court? Yes. But can I see Proctor struggling with Sharp in his grill? I can. Can I see Uzan being a 6'4" guy that the Duke guards have trouble kind of keeping in front of him? I do. But it's going to be, is Houston smart enough to pull up from 12 rather than trying to go all the way to the rack and let Malawak block everything that's in sight. And it's going to be how much Sampson's able to get out of this team. But I think we have a good game. We'll make predictions right after. Let's do the second semifinal first.
Okay.
So now we get to the All SEC one. So I have to start with Kev. But we get Florida versus Auburn. So Kev, why don't you kick this one off, because this is your conference.
You got the team that was up until the last 4 games of the season the best team in the country in Auburn. You have Florida, who is the hottest team coming into the tournament after winning the SEC championship. Clearly, this is a terrific game. On Auburn's side, you've got, probably the best player on the court with Janai Broom. I mean, he's got 47 points, 30 rebounds the last 2 games. The only question with him is looks like he's going to be okay, but, you never know about the elbow injury he got late in the game in the regional finals. But they've got contributions from Pettiford and Kelly and a whole bunch of other teams, a whole bunch of other players. This is a team that takes care of the ball. They do not commit turnovers. Their guards, if it's a close game, their guards will shoot, it feels like 88 to 90% for the foul line. That could be huge down the stretch. Florida, like I said, been terrific. They've had a rally, especially against Texas Tech there. Clayton's had a terrific run here in the postseason. They've also had contributions from a lot of different players. They go deep. They've got Houck off the bench, for example. They are prone to turning over the ball, though. They're almost the opposite of Auburn. If they get a little careless, Auburn can turn them over, which could create a few more shots in the game for Auburn, which could be the big difference in the game. Now, despite them being in the same conference, they only played once this year. Back in February 8th, Florida did beat Auburn 90-81.
At Auburn.
At Auburn, when Auburn was number 1 at the time. That was Auburn's only loss for quite a while there in the SEC. But again, this should be just a terrific game. This should be nip and tuck all the way through.
G, thoughts on this one?
Auburn to me is the team that since I'm watching them in this tournament itself, I think they are the best team in the country. I see them make plays that I don't see some of these NBA teams make. And their vision, if they're on the break coming down, these guys, the vision is unbelievable. I mean, and not just the behind the back passes, which I saw a couple of different times, but they see that they're coming down 2-on-1. There's no hesitation. They know exactly when to throw the ball, when to move the ball to the other guy so he has the basket. Listen, I think Auburn, after watching this tournament, looks like the best team in the country, with the exception of Duke, who I want to see be challenged this week.
The one way I'll put this, Auburn has gotten stronger now. But remember, though, Michigan had them on the ropes. Michigan up 9 in the second half.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, Michigan just hit a wall and couldn't do a thing. And I'm not saying that had nothing to do with Auburn. That had a lot to do with Auburn's defense. Yeah. Auburn has, like you said, Kev, got Janai Broom. He's the guy. Okay, he makes everything go, and hopefully he's healthy enough to go, and hopefully there's nothing that's going to hold him back, and the extra couple of days of rest will help him out. But the length on the perimeter for this team with Baker Mazzara and Miles Kelly and Dahad Pettiford and Denver Jones. I mean, this is a really athletic group out there. Then you got Chaney Johnson and Cardwell down low helping out. So you got a little bit of depth. At the same point in time, Florida is just a more prolific offensive team.
Yeah.
Right? They go 10 deep. That's the deepest team that we have left. Florida can do the most with it. But defensively, Florida will be the weakest of the 4 teams left. So they have the number 1 offensive team left, and arguably. I mean, you could sit there and say Duke is, but I would give them the nod. And you have arguably, against the weakest defensive team of the 4. So this is going to be an SEC matchup that's really going to come down to, excuse me, guys, who's hitting shots, which sounds like the most ridiculous thing in the world. But that's what it's going to come down to, is who steps up. If Clayton can be the best player on the court, and if he is, Florida wins this game. If Clayton plays like Clayton played in the second half against Texas Tech, I don't see any way Auburn holds them off. But at the same point in time, if Broom can control down low, put Condon in, and put Hawk in, and all these other big guys in foul trouble, Chinyelu, put them all in foul trouble or make them really just doubt themselves down low, it could be Auburn. It's going to be listen, these are 4 really good teams. There's no Cinderella here. There's no, magical run, team of destiny. None of that. They're all teams of destiny. They're all the 1 seeds. To me, Houston's had the hardest road. Duke's had the easiest road. The 2 SEC teams have been somewhere in the middle, with Florida being struggled twice against, Connecticut, also, as well as the Texas Tech game, and Auburn having to come back from 9 down against Michigan. So now we get to the picks, boys. Gino, Duke versus Houston. Who wins?
I'm gonna say Houston. It's the first time I think Duke gets challenged. I think it gets them a little off kilter. Maybe they're down 4 points in the last 3-4 minutes. They're not sure how to react to this. How many times have they actually been down this whole season? Not many. And I think Houston finds a way and pulls this out. So I'm taking Houston.
Kev?
I think this is Duke. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be single digits for most of the game. I think Duke makes enough plays at the end. I see them, that 75-68 type of win, enough to cover. Not by much, but I think enough to cover.
I'm going to agree with Gino on this one. I think Houston's going to find a way to sneak this one out. I think this one's got somewhere in the, I don't know, maybe 71-68, somewhere in that range. I think that Houston finds a way. I think that if the Houston perimeter defensive players can sit there and get in Proctor's grill and can make it difficult for Knipple, I think that Duke starts running out of options on the perimeter and becomes the Cooper Flag show, which will work for a while, but won't work all the way through. I think now, if Houston's defense doesn't affect them at all, this game could be double digits. There's no way I see Houston blowing out Duke. There is a way I see Duke winning by 10 plus. So if they played 10 times, I think Duke could probably win 7, but I think Houston wins this one. So that's the way I'm going to put that. So now we go to the second half. I'll start with you, Kev, because it's SEC.
Yeah.
We have Auburn versus Florida. Now, I just want everyone to know that's listening, Kevin's daughter can win the basketball pool if Duke and Auburn play each other. So I just, before we know Kevin's pick, I just want everyone to know that there is a little something on the hotline, and we all are rooting for Allison to win, even those that she's competing against. So, Kev, by all means, tell us who you like in the Auburn-Florida game.
Well, the Sports Kings from Queens have raised some queens. If Allison wins this year, your daughter Megan won a couple of years ago. Gino, we'll have to get your daughter in next year's pool to make us all look like fools.
She actually did do a sheet this year.
So next year she'll be in the big pool, whatever. Anyway,
but this game's going to come down. I think this come down to the last possession or two. There's no reason why it shouldn't. These are two very evenly matched teams. Yes, I know I will be leaning towards Auburn.
I'm teasing you. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. But I think this is going to be a real tough battle. I can see Auburn. They're actually the 2.5-point dogs here. I'll take Auburn to win outright, somewhere in the neighborhood of 75-71. Okay,
Gino, where do you go here?
I like Auburn in this game. To me, from what I've seen, they look like the best team on the court every game I've seen them play. They seem to know how to get in the right place at the right time. I think Florida gives them a game. I think this is close down the stretch. I think Auburn pulls this out. 75-70 maybe. I could see this being a 5-point game, but I'll take Auburn.
It's going to be unanimous. And my thing for both games, to be honest, is I'm taking the coach. I'm giving Sampson the edge over Shire, and I'm giving Pearl the edge over Golden. And it's not that I think Shire's a bad coach, and not that I think Golden's a bad coach. I think they're really good. I just think Bruce Pearl's been great for a long time, and I think Kelvin Sampson's been great for a long time. And I think they both deserve that opportunity. I think they're both going to find their way there. I see this game a little more higher scoring than you guys. I think it's going to be somewhere closer to about maybe 84-78, 84-80. But I do think that Auburn will find their way to get by. They've just been kind of they had a little bit of a hiccup at the end of the season, but I think that they are just a little bit better than Florida on both sides of the ball, and I give them that edge, and I like the coach edge. That's just my take. So now we get to the championship, G.
Go ahead.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Houston cuts down the Nets. I'm taking Kelvin Sampson and the Houston team to win, the Cougars to win in Texas. It's almost the reverse of the road game they have. They almost, not a home game because San Antonio ain't that close, but they'll be the closest team in San Antonio. I give Houston the nod this week.
You and I have the same two teams, but I'm going the other way. I think it's Auburn cutting down the Nets. Kev?
I've got Auburn Duke, a little different than you guys, but I'll take SEC here. I'll take Auburn for the win. I think they'll find a way of getting it done. Janai Broom, I think, is the difference.
So, Kev, as an SEC junkie, having two teams in the Final Four, would you have 4 in the Final 8 and 1 in the Final 2 automatically? Yep. Would you call it a successful year for the SEC?
Oh, no doubt about it.
They proved that any way you can question it, right?
And yes, they had 14 teams in, but they had half of the Sweet 16.
Yep. 7 of 16. It was close enough.
Close enough. Half of their teams that got in made it to the Sweet 16. So obviously they deserve pretty much all the teams that got in there. Terrific year for the SEC. They've proven that they're the best conference.
I'm sorry, G. Go ahead.
And if you like Gino and Darren's picks on both underdogs to win, take Auburn money line, take Houston money line. You can get a little over 6-1. So I kind of like that bet also, by the way.
Yep.
We love college basketball. This has not been the most exciting tournament. I do think it's more of an aberration. I do think we will see more balance as we go, because Kevin put out that stat that I had read, Gino had read, and Kevin is the one that quoted it, which is great, that these are 4 of the better teams that we've ever seen. So there is a reason why these 4 teams get to the top. There aren't a lot of holes on these teams. One last point on men's college basketball before Kev takes over with the ladies. There are over 1,000 players already in the portal.
Yeah.
Including the entire team of the University of Indiana. Everybody left when DeVries came in. They do not have one scholarship player left. I don't know if there's another team like it, but it's the only major that I saw that does not have one scholarship player left. They brought in DeVries already, which gives them 1, but everybody else on that roster has left. So this is the way they do this portal thing. And hey, listen, we don't like the NIL. We don't like the portal. We don't like any of this stuff. We want guys to want to stay at their schools, and we get to learn them and know them. But at the same time, the way they do it during the tournament is a joke. Kev?
Open it next Tuesday morning.
Yeah, exactly. Tuesday morning. Give everybody a fair shot. So you get a guy like Holloway, right, on Michigan State. Just one example, and then we'll get off this. I'm sorry, guys. So Holloway begged to kiss the floor as a junior at Michigan State, crying on the sideline that he let his teammates down. Talked about the loyalty to Izzo, and he entered the portal.
Yeah,
it's like, come on, these guys just don't have any. There is no loyalty. It's all about dollars now, and they all see dollar signs and millions of dollars getting tossed around. And that's why we saw the coaching changes. We saw Kevin Willard leave a bigger school like Maryland to play at Villanova, the coach of Villanova, because he knows all the NIL money will go to the basketball, and that's important to him.
Is that why? Well, probably it's going to be split a little bit better, but is that why Buzz Williams left A&M to go to Maryland?
I think partially, but I also think, Texas is a football state.
Yeah.
I mean, we could sit there and try to make it basketball all we want. It's a football state. But the fact is that Texas A&M football is going to be so much bigger and so much more dominant. And the SEC is so strong that I have to think that Buzz thinks he has a better chance of getting where he needs to go in the Big Ten. And I don't think the Big Ten's a weak conference. I just think the SEC is so stacked. I mean, because you're talking about Chris Beard now leaving Ole Miss, most likely, they're saying. He's the lead candidate to go to A&M, which is within the conference, which I hate. Yeah. And I hope it doesn't happen. Hope Beard stays where he is. I really do.
Yeah.
But you look at guys like Chris Jans, who's done something that no one's ever done at Mississippi State. Go to the tournament his first 3 years there. And this guy's lucky to finish 9th every year.
Yeah.
And he's doing as best he can. He's looking about your coach, Parrish. You know, he was coach of the year, and then he finishes dead last. I mean, this is a brutal league. Same thing happened with Missouri in reverse, okay, where Gates was the winless last year, and he gets all the way. The SEC is just a brutal schedule.
We all feel like this is a broken system that needs to somehow be corrected. At this point, I don't know how the hell they figure out another system now, though.
No, I don't either, but they're going to have to come up with something.
I agree.
With somewhat of a salary cap of some sort
Yeah.
that gives every team a chance to spend the money a certain way. Because right now it's getting a little bit out of hand.
Yep.
Kev, let's go to the women.
Yep. So, big shock here. We've got 3 1s and the big upset. We have a 2.
Yeah, that's because the one
that's
best player got hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to say UConn couldn't have won that game because they could have easily beaten them straight up too, by the way.
Yep. So we'll start with the number 1 overall, UCLA. In the regional portion, they beat Ole Miss. They beat LSU. This is their first Final Four in a long time. So
for the women ever, first one ever, Kev.
For the women ever, yep. Their only 2 losses this year were to USC. Their difference maker is 6'7" Lauren Betts. Now you look at the round of 32, round of 16. She shot a combined 29 for 33. She's unstoppable. She uses her physical presence. She knows how to use a 6'7" body to establish low position in the block, and nobody can stop her from down there.
And she passes well out of there too.
And she's a terrific passer. She spots the open teammates. She's a impossible to stop. I mean, it's almost. I'm not trying to make this comparison to him, but it's almost like watching Shaquille in LSU against all these other guys. Just overpowering the competition. It's that type of level of overpowering she can do. They're gonna go against the number 2 seed UConn. Like you said, Darren, number 1 was USC. They lost Juju Watkins early in the tournament. UConn's been playing great. They've got the best player probably left in the tournament in Paige Beckers. She's averaging 35 points a game the last 3. The big thing's going to be Sarah Strong is their big presence in the middle. 6'2" freshman. Does being a freshman overcome, some of what she can do? Is best going to get her in foul trouble. If it is, they don't have a lot of good depth in the middle there. They are looking for, believe it or not, the first championship since 2016. This is a team that was winning it every year, it seemed like. So Becker's got something to play for. So, man, her legacy at UConn, she needs a championship. Other side of the bracket, we can guarantee a SEC.
2 SEC teams, yep.
Texas, they beat Tennessee and TCU leading up to the Final Four. They're playing terrific defense, giving up 51 points per game the last 3. They're All-American Madison Booker, terrific player. They do it with mid-range jumpers and inside. They've taken 24 threes the entire tournament so far. Something you don't see anywhere in any level of college, any level of basketball anymore. They don't take the 3. They're going to be against some school you may have heard of, South Carolina. I've got no rooting interest in this game. They struggled at times. They survived against Maryland. They survived against Duke. This will be the 4th meeting. They're 2-1 against Texas. Coincidentally enough, South Carolina's other 2 losses were to UCLA and UConn. So if they get by Texas, they've got a chance for revenge in the finals. They're the deepest team. They go 10 deep. They don't have a star player. The problem is that, as we've seen in Maryland, Duke, they do struggle at times offensively. So it's a matter of they can limit that. They're used to Texas. This will be a dogfight, coin flip type of game.
Darren, you can argue, by the way, Kev, that Beckers was better than Juju this year, by the way. You can argue that Beckers is the best player. She had similar kind of year to what Caitlin Clark had last year without the fanfare.
Yep.
I mean, maybe I'm over-exaggerating, but Beckers was she was just a bucket getter every time she needed to get a bucket.
And Beckers is not I'm going to pull up from half court or 2 steps in front of half court.
Gino's not letting her do that.
No.
She
does not have the green light to shoot from wherever.
Gino's like, I coached Sue Bird. I coached Diana Taurasi. I coached Rebecca Lobo. I coached Stewart. I coached all these girls. You're going to play in my system. Yep. And she still does it. So it's really impressive. So, Kev, because I know Gino doesn't really care. Kev, who's going to win this?
I
know you want South Carolina, so you can say them, and it's fine.
It's going to be let's go for the repeat. I think they're going to beat Texas.
Okay.
UCLA, UConn, boy, if they can, geez, Betts is such a lot to deal with inside. But I think UConn's a little bit better team. I'm going to go UConn, South Carolina, and deep down, I think UConn's going to win.
Okay.
UConn, I think
UConn's like an 8-point favorite over UCLA, right? Something like that, 8.5. I think I saw. I think it's going to be the same final as you, and I think UConn's going to win it as well. I hope you win, though, Kev. I have no dog
I'll
in
be
the
rooting
fight.
for them too.
But I caught a little bit of the Elite Eight games, and got to see a little bit more of it. I've seen a little bit throughout the year, but the UCLA, the rest of the supporting cast isn't as good as the rest of the supporting cast on UConn. That's what I noticed. Gee, do you want to make a guess, or do you not care?
No.
Back to you, Gino.
I have no general interest. All my college basketball is on the men, so
I understand.
I will tell you this though, unbelievable that of the 8 teams remaining in men's and women's, we have 7 ones and a 2. It's just unbelievable.
And remember the other one that lost their best player.
No, I know. But still, we have 7 ones and a 2. That's the 8 that are left in men's and women's. It's unbelievable stuff.
You do expect it in the women's. You don't expect it in the men's.
Yeah.
All right, Jake.
All right, we'll head over to the NBA. So season winding down. Not many games left. Knicks kind of standing in the 3 spot in the East. Kev, want to talk to us a little NBA?
Yeah, I mean, we still know it's going to be Cleveland 1 and 2 with Boston, separated by 4 games, and it's a big 8 game, or maybe more tonight after the Knicks lost to Cleveland, back to the Knicks in 3rd. They've got still a pretty comfortable lead. You've got Indy, Detroit, Milwaukee battling 4 through 6, and we already know that more than likely Orlando, Atlanta, Miami, and Chicago are going to be in the play-in game. Just a matter of who's going to finish 7 and 8 and get that advantage of having only to win 1 game, possibly.
Yep.
Or play 1 game to get in.
Yep.
Right now the Knicks dealing with the injuries. I think Cat did play tonight. He didn't play last night. I think what's done was it's given playing time to Kolek, who's looked really good so far as a backup point guard. Right now,
we liked him at the draft. We thought he was a fine because we saw him at Marquette a lot, and we know that what he could do.
Yep. Robinson's ramping back up. He had a double-double the other night, starting in place for Cat. So hopefully he's getting ready for the playoffs. And Brunson hopefully back by the weekend.
Well, here's what it comes down to for the Knicks, right, Kev? I mean, their season starts in 5 games. They have to figure out a way to get past the second round for this to be a successful season. And getting past the second round and beating Boston seems almost impossible. But the fact is that if they don't, with the moves that they made, and they don't advance further than they did last year, it's not a successful season. Even though they shouldn't beat Boston, I can't see it being considered a successful season to get back to the same spot as last year. They have to find a way. And this team tonight had the lead at the half. Cleveland blew their doors off in the second half. I know Cleveland's very good. I'm not saying they're not. But this team, without Brunson, who would be the defensive guy that slows them down, was unable to kind of keep Cleveland in check. They have all these wings. Anunoby's playing giftedly offensively right now. I don't understand why they can't get stops in big spots, but they just don't seem to be able to do so. And if they don't fix this defense, which is very un-Tibbs-like, they're not going anywhere. They're gonna have to battle Milwaukee at this point. It was the way it looks right now. It could change. They're gonna be lucky to get by Milwaukee in the first round if they play like this. So we're gonna have to see what happens with the Knicks going forward. But they're gonna have to get some sort of momentum because they haven't played one of these good teams within 10 points all season long.
They've got a terrible record against the really good teams in the league. Out west, OKC has this thing clinched for, I think, since about December. It feels like they're up by 14 games in the conference, 2 through 8 separated by 5.5. It's really come down to the playing game. You've really got 3 for 2. It's Dallas, Sacramento, and Phoenix for 9-10.
And nobody really wants it, really, because Sacramento lost at Washington tonight. Phoenix isn't very good. They're talking about where KD's going to play next.
Yep.
The thing about the West that's interesting to me, Kev, is the additions of both Doncic and Butler have made LA and Golden State look like they're teams that nobody wants to face out west, not even Oklahoma City, even though Oklahoma City is great.
Yep.
I'm just saying that the addition of those guys makes the Western first and second round of the playoffs really interesting to me.
I think Memphis is the interesting team after they fired their coach Taylor Jenkins with 9 games left in the season.
having a really good bounce back year. It's not like
They
Memphis
have.
was playing badly. I didn't understand it. He'd been there for a few years. I don't know what the urgency was to do something now, unless he had sex with the owner's wife. I don't know. I'm going by the old Boston thing. I don't know what happened.
We can't talk about people having sex on this show. After
Yes, we
some of the
can.
other
We're on the internet.
the other controversy with like McAfee,
Oh God.
and then what was that? Ole Miss.
Oh God. Horrible. Horrible.
And the other point, Jokic the other night in double overtime, 61 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, most ever points in a triple double, passing the 60 by Doncic and Harden, most points by an NBA player this season, and in a stat that would make Tibbs proud, Doncic did not sit the entire second half or either double overtime.
Listen, best player in the sport right now.
Yeah.
I don't nothing against SGA and all these other great players. Tatum's awesome. All these guys are great. LeBron's LeBron. Jokic is the best player in the sport.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's not really close. Carmelo, apparently, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Thoughts? He was a really good player, really good scorer. I don't know if I don't consider him one of the greats of all time, but he was a great player.
Yep.
It's everything, I think. I know it's supposed to be an NBA Hall of Fame, but when you look at his freshman run at Syracuse, his only year there, leading him to a championship. You look at how many gold medals with Team USA?
Was it
3 or 4?
3 or 4, something like
and,
that.
and the last and the last 1 or 2 that he's really been the team leader.
Hardest worker, they always say.
So I think it's everything that has gone into it, because his scoring was always great, but you never felt like it was in a winning environment. He was a point getter, but Hall of Famer. I don't question him being in the Hall of Fame.
No, I don't either. I agree with you.
Yep.
Okay, let's move over to the NHL. So Ovechkin is now, after tonight's goal, 3 goals away from breaking Gretzky's record. He's at 892. Record is 894.
Yep.
Washington has 7 games left, so it's definitely doable. He needs 3 and 7. As Darren pointed out very poignantly earlier, the last game of the Capital season is
Islanders.
at the Islanders.
And they also play them this Sunday as well. Was
Correct.
it Saturday? It's this weekend. I'm not sure. I think it's Sunday.
If it does,
maybe he'll get the hat trick this weekend.
If it does come down to the last game, it is at UBS. So, Rangers got an overtime win today. They are now tied in 8th place with 79 points. Islanders at 74 points with 8 left, 5 back. At this moment, we have 3 teams over 100 points. Washington at 105, Winnipeg at 106, Dallas at 102, Vegas right on the door at 98. Any NHL thoughts, guys?
Well, Islanders kind of really crapped the bed, and that's pretty much it. I mean, they'd have to win out with a ton of help to have any shot. The Rangers, I also think, need to really win out. They have a chance. The Devils look like they found a way to solidify and stay in. It looks like they're going to stay in, which would be probably the only local that gets in. But the interesting thing about the East is you got teams like Montreal and Detroit who have not really been there for a while, fighting to get back in. You've got Columbus doing it for Johnny, trying to get back in, and Ottawa making a little bit of a run. You know, like the do it for Johnny reference. But Ottawa finding their footing as well. So we have some interesting storylines in the East. The Rangers, do they have a shot? Yes. Again, tonight, can't give up 4 goals to a team that doesn't score very well, and that's what they did tonight. They had to sweat out getting the 2 points against Minnesota. Listen, the top teams in this league, it's really hard to imagine them losing until they get to the semifinals. You just look at Tampa, you look at Florida, you look at Carolina, and of course Washington. These teams look like they're head and shoulders above everybody else right now, and you just don't expect the Leafs to win a series. So that's why you take them as the 5th team and the one out.
Yeah,
If you look at the playoff structure, I mean, first off, in the East, as going into tonight, nobody was eliminated yet.
No, nobody eliminated yet.
The top 3, Toronto, Tampa, Florida, very safe. They're the top 3, period.
Yep.
Metropolitan, top 3, Washington, Carolina, and the Devils. No doubt about it, they're the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Ottawa opened up a 5-point lead for the wild card. It's Montreal. Like I said, some of the teams, nobody wants it, though. You look at the last 10 games, Montreal 4-3-3, Columbus 3-6-1, Rangers 4-5-1, Detroit 4-5-1, Islanders 3-4-3 with 6 losses in a row. Not one team wants to step up and claim that. Out west, it's no better. Central, you've got the top 3: Winnipeg, Dallas, Colorado, no doubt. Pacific top 3, it's Vegas, LA, and Edmonton, no doubt. Wild card even is St. Louis, Minnesota separated by a point, 6 points back to Calgary.
And Minnesota got a point tonight, so you're tied.
Then they're tied tonight. So really, there's not much.
So just to explain
wild card.
Calgary. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, G. Kev.
Except for one wild card spot, I think everything else is set for the playoffs.
Just to tell you what it's like being a Flame fan. So they're down 2-0 to Colorado the other night. So I have it on. Then I'm watching it right after our show. And then all of a sudden, they get a goal in the third. So I stay around. All right, 2-1. Fourth line goal. Fourth line scores a second goal. Sends us to overtime. Against Colorado, who's so gifted. You're like, my team just can't compete. But they find a way to win the shootout. And all of a sudden, you're like, momentum. Then they go to Utah the next night and score 1 goal and lose. This is what this team does to you. So I stayed up till 11:30, 11:45 the other night watching this stupid team come back and win this game, and I'm all pumped up. And then last night, they crapped the bed against Utah. It's really, I think the 8 teams in the West, like you said, Kevin, done, barring a team collapsing.
Yep.
And in the East, the Rangers have a shot, but their schedule is probably the hardest of the teams left, and everybody has a game in hand on them now, at least one. So I don't think the Rangers are going to get there either. I hope they do, because it makes it more exciting. Hockey's a sport that we need to have to like or hate a team that we're watching. Otherwise, it's not really we're going to keep up on everything.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, it's not going to be appointment television for a lot of people unless you have a team that you have real interest in. And in New York, the Rangers are going to be that team, because the Islanders, I don't think, have it left in them. Jake?
Said very well. We'll move to baseball. So we did our baseball preview. Look for it. It's up. It was up 2 days ago. So give it a listen. Everybody's only between 5 and 8 games basically at this moment. Yankees at 3-2, Mets at 3-3. We got one team before tonight that doesn't have a win. It's the Braves at 0-6. We got 2 teams that are at this moment still undefeated, the Dodgers and the Padres, both at 7-0.
The 2 of them got to beat up on the Braves.
And the Braves at the moment are leading the Dodgers, so we may get rid of a couple of the zeros very quickly.
Yep.
The Giants are 5-1, by the way. No one talking about them yet. They're right there too.
Giants are 5-1. You do have one 1-5 team, and that's Washington. Any other just various points you want to bring up? There's not a lot going on at the moment. Darren?
I got just a couple of quick things, then I'll go to Kevin. 2 major signings today of young players. Jackson Merrill for the Pods, 9-year, $135. Makes sense for both. Merrill gets paid much earlier than he would normally do it. Padres get to buy out the first couple of years of his free agency, keep him around a little bit longer. Makes sense. Similar happens with Marte over in Arizona, 6 years, $116 million. Gets a little bit more, but it's been in the league a little bit longer as well. Also buy out a couple of years of his free agency as well by doing it this way. Smart moves by both ownership groups, knowing that they're not going to be able to keep these guys, Kev.
And the Red Sox, Christian Campbell.
Oh, Chris, he didn't even play yet.
Week of experience, 8 years, $60 million.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at how much he got, by the way, but I get why they did it. The other stat that we didn't mention the other day, I just wanted to mention two. Actually, number one, I thought it was a great tribute by the Athletics the other day. The entire team wore number 24, including the coaches, for Ricky Henderson, which I thought was a really great tribute in the home opener. I loved Ricky as a player. He's one of my favorite players of all time. I know Gino felt the same way.
Yeah, so much fun to watch.
He was just an incredible guy to watch, whether he was on Oakland or the Yankees. Obviously, we loved him as a Yankee, but I enjoyed watching him in Oakland. I liked watching him as a Met even later in his career. He was just a fun guy. Didn't know his teammates, didn't know who they were. He was that kind of guy, but he was just a gifted player. And just a Rafael Devers stat.
Yeah.
In 1995, Tony Gwynn struck out 15 times in 585 at-bats. In 2025, Rafael Devers struck out 15 times in his first 19 at-bats. How has baseball changed? You can't make it. Now, everybody knows I love Gwynn, so I always find Gwynn stats, but it's just one of those things. But how in the world can you strike out 15 times in 19 plate appearances? I feel like it's me up there. That's ridiculous.
I could do that.
Kev, anything you want to add?
2 more points. Pittsburgh. I mean, talk about how the mighty have fallen after one very shaky save, giving up 2 runs in an inning and 2 losses in his 3 games. The Pirates have demoted David Bednar. I remember before last season, I think all 3 of us were rooting for him to wind up with the Yankees or the Mets.
Yeah, he was a keeper for me.
And last year was a terrible year, and he started off this year 3 games, 3 terrible appearances, and he's down. And for the Mets, really good news. Sean Manaea, oblique still bothering him, shut down from throwing for at least 2 more weeks. Great. That puts him back into late May by the time he gets ramped back up. And,
hopefully he comes back fully healthy, though.
Yeah. Cannot rush him back.
Nope.
Don't be surprised if Bednar is like back up by Sunday, by the way. Just a heads up, okay?
Or given his outright release and somebody picks him up. One or the other.
No, he'll be back up. I think
he get released. I don't know why. I just have a hunch.
All right. Well, listen, early on in the season, it's only been a week. Let's head over to the NFL.
He's got one more.
Yeah, Alonso, red hot series against Miami. Grand slam, a 3-run home run, 8 RBIs. You know why he's playing well this year, Met fans? I did not draft him. You're welcome.
Maybe he's got a torpedo bat. All right, NFL. So they had their meetings. They came up with rule changes. Let me tell you what they did not change. They have not ruled on the tush push. It is tabled to the May 21st meeting.
It's 16-16 right now. You need 24 to pass it.
And they have not ruled on changing the playoff format so that a wild card team with a better record gets a higher seed. That has all been tabled till May 21st. NFL draft coming up on April 24th. Side note. So rule changes that they did change. So guys, I'll read the rule. If you have a comment on it, tell me. Overtime. Regular season rule change. It goes from 15 to 10 minutes. Both teams are guaranteed a possession.
It was already 10 minutes, but the fact of the matter is they wanted 15. I would have went to 15. I think getting both team possession with 10 minutes may not be enough time.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna, especially the first drive is long. You can run out of time very quickly.
Yeah, you go down there and score. You give them the ball back with 48 seconds left.
Yeah.
Touchbacks go from the 30-yard line to the 35-yard line to encourage kicks in play.
I hate it.
They've ruined the kickoff. Move the tee back.
Kick from the 25. Let everybody run.
Yeah. And if you eliminate the onside kick, I'm sorry.
Remember when we were little, Gino, when we played in the street? No fakes. This is what it's like. No fakes.
No fakes.
No fakes. Okay. Hey, listen, going to throw and no fakes. That was the way it was done. Now nobody can fake. It's a joke.
All right. Replay assist. 5 more penalties can be overturned. I won't go through them. But now, but they can not call penalties that weren't flagged, just as a note. So that's still in effect.
Well, the ones that they added, right, was what they like the horse collar and what was the other one? There was a couple of other face mask, horse collar, tripping.
Yep.
Running into or roughing the kicker and hits on the defensive player. So that's what they added. I had no problem with any of them. We want to get the plays right. I don't like pass interference coming in there. I think that's too judgmental, but I think blatant calls, I think, have to be done.
Yep.
Because they now have stated that these other penalties can be reviewed, do you think more of these get called? Because if they're not called, they can't be reviewed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think the referees protect themselves by doing it now.
I agree.
Which slows the game down a little bit.
Great.
The next one is the flex schedule for Thursday night goes from 28 to 21 days between weeks 13 and 17. So they're giving themselves only 3 weeks to make a change. Kevin shaking his head.
Game as it is.
As a fan watching at home, great. Maybe get a little bit better matchup. But if you're a season ticket holder, it sucks even more than they've done to you now. I mean, here you are. You've got your Sundays planned out, and all of a sudden, you got a Thursday night game. What? It sucks for the season ticket holder.
Okay. They've modified the uniform policy. Now they can wear the alternate uniform 4 times. They can also wear an alternate helmet now.
Oh.
Anyone watching me can see how much I care about this.
And the last one, which I am sure I will have comments made back on, is the first
I actually like it.
downs.
Before you say it, I like it actually.
The
And you
first
don't think I
downs
would.
will be measured electronically using Sony's Hawkeye technology.
They're going to
Darren?
use 8,000 whatever cameras to track the ball's position on the field. They say it's going to save 40 seconds to bring in the chain crew out there. The fact that they don't know how to spot a ball, I don't have a problem with it. I honestly don't. I think that they spot so badly now.
Okay.
I think it's worth the shot, but the chain crew will be there as a backup.
I think you need a chain crew to make sure the players have an idea of where the first down marker is also. I mean, that's a big thing. As a backup in case you have a technological problem. Like I said, they half the time they get the spot wrong anyway, so what difference does it make?
Darren likes a technology change. I don't know what else to do now.
You know what? Because they're so off on it. It's ridiculous.
My whole night is confused now.
2 other quick things in this, by the way. Automatic first down on defensive holding was overturned. That did not pass. The Detroit Lions presented that, and it did not pass. I actually like the idea of not an automatic first down on every holding on like a 3rd and 19. But then you'll see teams just doing it all day long. So I understand why it doesn't pass.
Yeah.
I'd rather see a 10-yard defensive holding penalty, but not the automatic first down.
You know what?
If it's 10 yards on offense, it should be 10 yards against the defense.
I would actually do 15 on the defense and not the automatic first down. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, so if it's like 3rd and 22, but 3rd and 8, I don't know, 10 or 15, it could go either way. I see your point on the 10 too. Yeah. I see your point on the 10. The other thing that happened, which means nothing to most of us, teams can now speak with the free agents directly during the period of like negotiation and negotiate travel, but they don't have to only just do it through the agents. I didn't even know this was that big a deal. So I was surprised that I didn't even know that was something that was up, G. I had no clue.
And here is a big one that I'm sure you guys will love. The NFL is not satisfied with just having a triple header on Thanksgiving. They will now have a triple header on Christmas Day.
And it will only be on streaming.
That's right.
Because God forbid they let the entire country watch. I love how the NBA LeBron came out with that whole, Christmas is our day. And then the NFL dwarfed them. And they didn't even have any good games.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous.
Any NFL points? We got the draft coming up. We got other things going on.
I think we should break into the draft in a couple of weeks. We'll do a little bit of a good part of our segment that 1 week. Just talk about Jets, Giants, and maybe even I don't know if we'll mock the whole first round, but we'll give you a good idea of the top at least 10 to 15, and then we'll go from there.
We have to get down to where Imanori's picked.
All right. That's it for NFL. Darren.
Couple of quick things with horse racing. It's the last weekend that we have prep races, okay? Major prep races. There is a couple smaller ones after this, but this week we get the Bluegrass, we get the Santa Anita, and we get the Wood. Okay, so start with the Bluegrass, 7-horse field, 100 points. Winner is in, basically, okay? Second place is going to be right there as well. There's a few good horses in here. River Thames, or Tim's, as they say. Pletcher and Ortiz is the early speed. Him and Owen Almighty, both coming off wins. Both the speed horses, even though Owen Almighty, I think, will stay a little bit off the pace on this one. East Avenue is an interesting horse. He was like amazing as a 2-year-old, has been crappy as a 3-year-old. And then Chancer McPatrick, who ran second to Owen Almighty last time out. The pace should be better for him. I'm taking Chancer to win this one. I think that the 6 comes out on top of the 1-3. And I think it's a very competitive race. I think that all 3 horses will end up qualifying for the Derby. Santa Anita, just to tell you how far California horse racing has fallen. 5-horse field for the Santa Anita. This is one of the best prep races ever, every year, right, Kev? This is the premier one. This is one of the top 2.
This was the West Coast prep race.
5 horses, okay? The thing about it is 3 of these horses are really freaking good. Journalism, what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, we came back on Barnes, running again from the inside post with McCarthy and Rispoli, dominant in the San Felipe, off the pace, distance runner, can run for days. He'll be the favorite in the Derby if he wins this race, okay? Citizen Bull, who's undefeated, he's stretching out. This is going to be the longest race he's run. Can he run the mile in an 8th? That's going to be the question right now. The stats say no, but the workouts say he can. He's the early speed in this race. Okay. Westwood's a maiden. I don't know. They needed a fifth horse to round out the field. That's how bad this is. Baeza, who's a decent horse, also with Sheriffs, broke his maiden last time out. He's a decent horse, but it doesn't belong here. And Barnes being the other one, the horse that Journalism beat last time, Baffert and Hernandez. He'll probably sit off the pace a little bit. He'll have a different speed horse to chase. I think that Journalism's just the best horse in this race. I think he finds a way to win it with Barnes second and Citizen Bull third. And then we get the Wood, the weakest of the three. Okay, it's just the way it works, unfortunately. Yeah. But it's also the best field, 12. So you get 12 in the Wood, and I'm not going through all 12. I promise you, Gino. I swear to God. But so you got some horses with some weak, speed numbers in this race that you have to dismiss, and there's one that has weak speed numbers that I'm keeping in just because I have a hunch. The horses I like in this one are Captain Cook, who won the Withers. It's a good horse. He's a stalker. He'll be right there. You got Dutro and Franco. I do think that the 6 Hill Road, it's been better lately, has a chance. He's new to the only third race from dirt, came from Ireland. Seems to be getting stronger and stronger. And the horse I like that has not really had the greatest numbers, but it's 2 for 2 so far, is a horse called Grande. He's the 7. He's got Pletcher and Davis, and Pletcher needs to find a horse to get him into the Derby. He's right now does not have a horse that's going to get him in. I think Pletcher's going to find a way to get Grande in. I don't know if Grande is going to win it, but I think he'll finish top 2 in this. Again, son of Curlin, how bad can the horse be, right?
Yeah.
I think the horse has a legit shot. I'm going to put him on top anyway. I'm going to go 7-2-6 in this race. Again, we'll have a better idea of the Derby after this race. We'll know who's qualified or who's really on the cusp, and we'll take it from there. But I think that Santa Anita, I wish it was a 7 or 8 horse field, because, you would really see how good journalism is going to be, because in a 5 horse field, it's really tough to gauge. So, because then next time they're running with 20. So we'll see what we got. That's it for horse racing right now. Last week I gave you second and third, and second and third. I couldn't hit the winner last week. So in Arkansas and Florida. So I had Sovereignty on top, did not win, and I forget who I had in the Arkansas, but I also finished second and third in that race.
Didn't you?
What'd you say?
I thought you won, though.
I'm trying to remember now. Sovereignty. I think I had the exacted, but I had it in the backwards order. You're right. So I liked Sovereignty last week, and he was the one that finished second. He was a beaten second.
So this week I'm looking at Grande, Captain Cook, huh?
Captain Cook and Grande.
Sandman was a 6. Oh
yeah.
Oh wait,
I didn't have Sandman on top. I got beat by Sandman.
You gave us 8-6-3.
Yeah.
It was 6-3-8.
Yeah, I had the right horse. I just didn't have him in the wrong box. Listen, if I actually bet it, I would have covered it. I guarantee you. But yeah, I had the right 3 horses. I just didn't hit.
The triple box would have paid you for $1.40.
Wouldn't have sucked.
No,
wouldn't have sucked at all. And that's what I got. So you guys have anything else you want to add before we wrap this shindig up, boys?
No.
Right.
Hopefully we get some good college basketball this weekend.
Yeah. Kev, you're 100% right. We are the Sports Kings from Queens. I'm Darren here with Gino, here with Kevin. Talk about the wonderful, wild, and wacky world of sports. A wacky world of sports where I actually can't wait for technology to get a football spot correctly on a crucial 3rd or 4th down. Please download the podcast anywhere you can get a podcast, whether it be an Apple product, Spotify, TuneIn, Audio Boom, whatever you like. Also, make sure that you are watching us on YouTube. See these beautiful faces. It's unbelievable. You don't really want to miss it. And we do a lot on social media. We've been posting a lot of clips, a lot of different parts of the show. Like, comment, share. Tell us what you want more of. And without any further ado, may your sports be with you.